Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Lars Sorensen with Simple Python. If you are looking for something more complicated, you are in the wrong place because this is very, very simple. Alright, today we are going to look at the input statement. Now, if you followed along in the last video, we learned how to create a program. Just to go over it again, you would do new window, and then you would type what you wanted to do, blah, 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 and then you would save it, and then you would hit run module, and your program would run over here in the command window. We're not going to go and do that today because I have prepared a little program for us to use already, and I call it Age Plus. Basically, what my program is set up to do, I have a bunch of comments. I spelled program correctly this time. I put my name, and then I put the purpose of the program and what it's supposed to do in the comments. And basically all I do is I take somebody's age and I add 5 years to it, which, as the years go on, is going to be a bad program. In a couple of years, I think I'm going to start minusing 5 years. Anyway, I come down here, and I say print and double quote, and you can see the first thing I have there is what's called a special character. It's a \n. And what that does is prints a blank line. You'll see when we use it over in the command window, when that print statement is run, you'll see a blank line, and then you'll see this is the Age Plus 5 program, and then another blank line because I have another backslash, not forward slash, \n at the end of it. So that'll print out a little introduction to let the world know, hey, my program is here and we're going to do something. Then, as you know from the previous videos down here, this statement here will assign the value 45 to the variable x. So x now has been assigned the value 45. And very simply, in the third line, I print, give myself another space, just because I'm getting crazy with it. And I say, in 5 years, you will be blank, and then x. I just print it out for now. So let's go see if this works. I will save pretty soon. I am going to start using the Control S, but for now, we're just starting out, so I'm going to still do things by the book, and then I'm going to say run module, and we can see over here this is the Age Plus 5 program, 2 spaces because I had one at the end here and one in the beginning here, and then in 5 years you will be 45 years old. Well, that doesn't do anything because 45 is what I gave it. So let's figure out how we can add 5 years to it. Well, we could do one of two things. We can do this. So when that statement there is evaluated from right to left, as I told you before, we're going to add 5 to x and make it 50, and then the value 50 will be assigned to x. So now I've assigned it 45, but I've increased it by 5, and then I'm going to print out the new value. So let's see what we get. Save and run. Bang. So that works. I was told I was saying boom a lot, so now I'm going to say bang and boom. We'll try and mix it up a little bit. We see 50 years, so now we've successfully added 5 to it. But there's another way we can do it too, and I'll show you that as well. If we want to, we can just do it right here in the print statement. Doesn't make a difference. And real fast, boom, you see it does the same thing. So we can just leave that there. But this program has an obvious limitation. I just ran the program. I happen to be 45 clicks, but what if somebody else came up to use the program and wanted to use their age? Well, then they have to be a programmer. They have to open this up, go into this line, and change it to whatever their age is. So it's not very interactive for people, but we can change that. And the way we're going to change that is by using something called the input statement. The input statement allows the program to ask the user to enter data, and then that data will be taken into the program and used. You'll see you just type input, and then just like a print statement, you write down text that you want before you actually ask for the number. So I'm going to say, what is your age? Question mark, space, colon, give it a space right there. And when that question is asked, the user will input a number that will be assigned to x, and then that x will be used down there. Now, think it's going to work? Let's go find out. I'm not so sure. Hey, look at that. Now it's asking me what my age is. Put it in. That is a big, bad error. Now, why would we get an error like that? Let's go back here and look at what we're doing here. I ask for the age. I give it the age. It's x plus 5. I wonder what's going on here. Now, as a programmer, whenever I have a hinky variable, first thing I want to do is print it. So I would do that just to get a look at the variable and see if anything is wrong with it. That's funny. Looks like my input statement worked because I have a 45 there that comes from my print statement. So that's a little bit odd. Let's try this. I will get rid of the print, and I'll just print it out here in the statement. Okay, hey, maybe we're in business. Okay, it prints it out. So it seems to work now when I just print it out. But if I add in the middle of my print statement, it breaks again. Now, I'm going to show you something that's a little secret behind the curtain kind of stuff. When we run these programs, we can examine all of the variables and all of the things over here in the command area. So I can type in X and I can see what we have. So when I type in X, I see 45. That's what I put in, but look very carefully at what you see there. Do you remember what those two quotations mean? Those two quotations mean what you have in there is a string. When I use the input statement, X is assigned a string and not a number. So down here in the print statement, when I add X plus 5, I'm trying to add what Python sees as a word with a number, and that is a no-no, and that is why you're getting your error message. So what we want to do next is to somehow take this X, which is the string 45, the word that means 45, and make it a real number. And we can do that by doing this. I think I can keep the X. That command right there is going to take the X, remember we're evaluating from right to left, that is a string, and turn it into what's called an integer. Now technically an integer is a number that's written without a fraction or without a decimal component, like a 21 or a 4 or -7. Anything without a fraction or a decimal, just a regular, what you'd think of as a number, is an integer. And in Python, we can take that little command right there, actually it's a function, and turn our string 45 into an actual 45. So once I do that, I will save, I will run, ask me for my age, and look at that. Lo and behold, I've increased it by 5 because now X is an integer, the same as 5. That addition operation works great, and everything is fine in Dogpatch all of a sudden. Now, I'll say it now, but you don't have to remember it. This little operation right here in computer science, that's called casting. We casted a string to an integer so that we could use it in our print statement below. So that's pretty much it for the input statement. You need to remember that input gives you a string, and if you want to do numerical operations with numerical input, you've got to change it to an integer before you can use it. But after that, you should be good to go. Okay? You have everything in front of you, so you can go and try this for yourself and play around with some of the different scenarios we used. That's it for this episode. But stay tuned, because as we move forward, we're going to take a look at something called floating point numbers, which is not integers. They're the ones that have the decimals. And we're going to look at a really simple if-then statement so that you can look at data and make a choice and do different things depending on what that data says to you. So that ought to be interesting. All right? Everybody promise to be good, and I'll see you for the next video. Take care.